Fox 61 News at 10 starts now.
Right now at 10, a family calling for justice 4 years after a pregnant woman was killed in a Connecticut hotel. We're going to have the latest on her case as her boyfriend is charged with murder.
Vice President Kamala Harris visiting Connecticut today. We'll tell you about her push to protect abortion rights during her appearance in New Britain.
And both sides rest their case in the defamation trial of conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. We'll explain what's next for the case. But first, on Fox 61, a Waterford family is calling for justice after their pregnant daughter was stabbed to death 4 years ago. Good evening, I'm Jen Bernstein.
And I'm Ben Goldman. Thanks for joining us here tonight. Her boyfriend charged in the young woman's murder, and he's scheduled to appear in court tomorrow. Fox 61's Alicia Machado spoke with the family tonight and joins us tonight with their message. Alicia.
Yeah, well, Ben, Jen, it's been a very painful 4 years for this family. The man charged with her murder agreed to accept a plea deal, 40-year sentence, much to the disappointment of the family. But they're going to fight to make sure no one else suffers.
December marks 4 years since Heather Rodriguez and her husband Phil lost their daughter, 25-year-old Karina Rodriguez, a mother of three with a baby on the way. The family says Karina was stabbed dozens of times. Police say she was found inside a room at a Niantic motel where she had been staying with her boyfriend, Avery Hallbrooks. Hallbrooks charged with her murder.
That night was the worst night ever in my whole life, losing her. I miss her.
She would have given anything for anyone. She was just an amazing person all around.
Hallbrooks entered a guilty plea and accepted a 40-year prison sentence back in July, despite the family pushing for a stricter sentence.
For someone to do that and take everything away from my daughter like he did, and then just to kill her the way she was killed, and to get 40 years is disgusting.
They made us go out there, plea our hearts out for a stiffer sentence, 48 years, and we're just blindsided.
Hallbrooks is set to appear in court Thursday for sentencing, but the family isn't stopping here.
I'll do anything to bring her back, but we can't. So now my job is to make sure that it doesn't happen to someone else.
The family calling for an update to the special circumstances law, where a person convicted of certain types of murder gets a life sentence, such as murdering a police officer or someone under the age of 16.
If you're married, dating, whatever the case may be, and you kill your partner because of domestic violence, I think that should be in a special circumstance. And I think it's up to our state reps, governor, people just to start making some noise.
By the time these women and men are killed, they've suffered decades, some of them, emotionally, mentally, physically.
Now, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Free confidential help is available for those who need it. You can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 800-799-7233. We also have a list of local resources on our website, fox61.com. Just take a look for today's article. Back to you.
All right, Alicia, thank you. In other news tonight, Vice President Kamala Harris visited Connecticut today to speak about abortion rights a little more than 1 month before the midterm election.
Yeah, the vice president held a roundtable discussion at Central Connecticut State University. Hundreds gathered to hear the vice president speak about reproductive rights. The vice president speaking about racial biases in women's health care.
Black women 3 times more likely to die. Native women twice as likely. Women in rural America 1.5 times. When it comes to racial bias in the healthcare delivery system, we know that is a huge contributor, in particular to Black maternal mortality.
Congresswoman Jahana Hayes and the president of Planned Parenthood were also part of today's discussion. They said it's important to protect abortion and contraception after Roe v. Wade was overturned.
It is critical that we take action to enshrine women's reproductive rights into law and protect the health and well-being of all women and all people.
It's not just about access to abortion, right? It's contraception. They're literally trying to hold people hostage in their states with these right to travel bans.
Ed Lamont was also at the roundtable and reaffirmed Connecticut's full support for reproductive rights.
Republican George Logan is challenging Congresswoman Hayes in a tight race for her 5th district seat. While he says women's health care and abortion are important issues, he also called the vice president's visit a missed chance to address other issues facing Connecticut.
We've got the Vice President and Congresswoman Johanna Hayes doing a bunch of grandstanding and fear-mongering.
Logan also says that he thinks inflation and the economy are more pressing issues for American families. And just after 10 o'clock here, we do want to check in with Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank on the rainy, gray weather watch. Is that right?
I know. It's just rinse and repeat, Rachel, from the last few days.
I think it's been 5 days now that we've had at least clouds and cooler temperatures, off and on rain. And earlier today, at least this evening, it was really the western half of the state that was getting most of the measurable rain. Now we've kind of shifted. It is the eastern half of the state's turn to get more significant rain. And it is really pouring out there for some areas. And before we zoom in and show you where that's happening, I do want to tell you we are still on track for drying out and seeing sunshine as we head into the day tomorrow. But first, we got to get through this. Still seeing some downpours right now around Ledger. These are heading right towards the shoreline. So if you're in Groton, it is about to rain really heavily over your roof right now. Griswold up through Sprague, seeing some very heavy, almost tropical downpours, and you're seeing that through Scotland. Canterbury just got through one round, and that goes all the way up through Putnam. Also farther west towards Hebron, and a little shower here that was previously heavier as it moved through Hartford. Now it's starting to lose some steam through Southington and Cheshire. As we head towards midnight, we are going to get a drier air to kind of stream in from the north, and on top of that, it might take until maybe 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning before we get rid of the last sprinkle or shower out there, but I think we do it. We do it by the time you wake up tomorrow morning. Clearing skies, temperatures beginning in the 50s, and what's this? Low to mid 70s as we head through the afternoon with a light wind and lots of sunshine. Another day like it for Friday, and then some changes for the weekend. Your full forecast coming up.
See you back here in a bit, Rachel. Thank you. New at 10 tonight, police in Norwich are searching for a man accused in a domestic violence-related shooting that happened last weekend. Police say 32-year-old David Holland Jr. of Norwich is wanted on 4 charges, including reckless endangerment. Officers responded to a report of shots being fired on Boswell Avenue around 6 o'clock Saturday evening. They found a vehicle that had been shot several times. No one was inside or injured, but police believe it's a targeted attack. Anyone with information should call Norwich Police.
We have a Fox 61 follow-up to breaking news that we first brought you last night at 10. Waterbury police say they're making progress in the investigation after a 17-year-old was shot and killed. No arrests, though, have been made yet. Wasim Resto Rodriguez was shot several times right near his home on Bishop Street. His family says he made it back to his front yard where he collapsed. He was rushed to Waterbury's St. Mary's Hospital and was pronounced dead there.
This is a very active investigation. It's brought us to other neighborhoods within the city. We are working very hard on it right now with our major crimes detectives and our forensic unit.
This is Waterbury's 13th homicide of the year, but the first involving a child. Coming up at 11, Fox 61's New Haven County Bureau reporter Tony Terzi speaks with one of Resto Rodriguez's neighbors about how he's remembering the teen. And new tonight, both sides rest their case in the defamation trial of conspiracy theorist Alex Jones.
Sandy Hook families are suing Jones after he spent years calling the school shooting in Newtown a hoax. Fox 61's Gabby Molina has been covering the trial for us. She joins us live in Waterbury tonight with a recap and a look at what's to come. Gabby?
Ben, Jen, tomorrow, lawyers from both sides will get a chance to share their closing arguments. From there, it will finally go to the jury to begin their deliberation. After 13 days of listening to evidence, a jury made up of 3 men and 3 women will be tasked with deciding how much Alex Jones owes 8 Sandy Hook families and an FBI agent in damages. The trial has been filled with emotional testimony.
This case was brought because there have been lies about me and my family, and they would not stop.
The plaintiffs told similar stories of years of facing threats and being told that their loved ones never existed. It happened online, over the phone, through the mail, and for many, in person.
A full-on assault, it was so intense, and the words that people were using were so scary.
I got sent pictures of dead kids because I was told that as a crisis actor, I didn't really know what a dead kid looked like.
And nearly 10 years later,
there is not a day that goes by that there isn't a comment made about Sandy Hook hoax and crisis actors.
Alex Jones was only on the stand one day, but it was an eventful one, bringing the most heated exchange of the trial.
But I legitimately thought it might have been staged, and I stand by that, and I don't apologize for it.
And don't apologize, Mr. Jones. Please don't apologize.
No, I've already apologized to the parents over and over again.
We know
I don't apologize to you.
Objection,
don't apologize to you.
Jones was barred from speaking about several topics in court, since the judge had already found him liable for defamation by default. But he still made his voice heard outside of the courtroom, holding several press conferences.
This is a travesty of justice, and this judge is a tyrant.
The plaintiff's attorneys tried to prove Jones made money off of his lies, questioning his corporate attorney for several days.
Are you able to testify as Free Speech Systems corporate representative that between the years 2012 and yesterday, Free Speech Systems has made more than $100 million?
I think that's fair. While Jones's attorney tried to argue it's a matter of free speech.
They've transformed money into a political weapon in this trial.
Now, once this trial ends, Jones faces another similar one in Texas. That's expected to get started before the end of this year. As this case gets closer to coming to an end, stay with Fox 61 for updates. Live in Waterbury, Gabby Molina, Fox 61 News.
Gabby, thank you. Moving on tonight, Yale University will have to pay more than $300,000 to resolve allegations of violations of Controlled Substances Act. Yale was accused of failing to maintain complete and accurate records concerning the controlled substances it purchased and dispensed at the Yale Fertility Center. An investigation showed a former Yale Fertility Center nurse tampered with vials of fentanyl. She pleaded guilty in federal court. The investigation also showed that Yale violated the Controlled Substances Act nearly 700 times.
And new at 10, a new Democratic primary has been scheduled in one Connecticut city after a controversy over ballots. The new primary for Bridgeport's 127th House District seat will take place on October 18th, a decision made by Superior Court in the city. The race pits Councilman Marcus Brown against the seat's incumbent, Jack Hennessy. It comes after the original primary put Brown as the victor by only a handful of votes, and two subsequent recounts found problems with several absentee ballots. A judge then throwing out those results and calling for a new election.